gosh. Wow. These are huge. Oh my god. I was not expecting them to be this deep in my head, you know. I even measured it 5 inches to kind of get a good visual, and gosh darn it, that's huge. I hope I'm gonna have enough soil to fill all these today. I don't think I am. That's fine. I'm kind of curious to fit them in pots right now to see what that looks like. I mean, not pots, but a tray. Let me get one real quick. So yes, we are going to be planting squash today in these massive pots. Wow. It is March 4th, by the way. And it said it should fit 8. I was thinking that wasn't very many. And geez Louise, that's not, is it? I decided to go for all pink this time. I'm still kind of shocked at how large they are. I guess in my head I was thinking they were going to be, I mean, I guess that is 5 inches around. Okay then. I've never started my squash in pots this large before, so this is going to be interesting. Normally I'm starting them in something like these old Bonnie containers that I collect. Okay, well let's get going. I smashed my finger on the way out here and it still doesn't feel very good. You wanna come in? Come in. It's a beautiful day. All right, good thing I'm going to Costco tomorrow so I can pick up more soil, but we'll see how far we get today. Got a lot of different squash I'm going to be doing today or tomorrow. I've got the Big Macs that's going to go up by the house where I have a pumpkin patch for just carving pumpkins. I got my gourds and I'm going to get them started early this year, y'all. Started them too late last year and they didn't have enough time to fully develop before we got our first frost. So, going to be starting them early. Same thing with the gourds, these birdhouse gourds. So I can make lots of pretty birdhouses. I got my tried and true Long Island cheese that I love to do. And I think I'm gonna just do 10 this year. Maybe just 6. I think normally I do about 12. Yeah. Nathan loves these, so I'm gonna do a couple of white scallops. This Odessa, which is very delicious. It's a type of zucchini. But I saved seeds from my last year, but I did not label them correctly, so it's in one of these packets. So it's going to be a little bit of a mystery. I'm just going to plant all of them. Some of these are going to be the straight nut squash, and some will be the Odessa. But yeah, it's just going to be a little bit of a surprise. And I'm going to do lots of spaghetti squash. We love spaghetti squash, so I'm thinking I'm going to do at least 12. Even playing around with doing like 20 of them. So let's just see how far we can get with these massive pots. At least the squash will have lots of room to grow. I'm gonna bring this over here. I've been starting my squash in pots for a good 3 years now, if not 4. Has it been 4 years? It's been a little while. And when I first started really gardening here in our little homestead, we're out in North Georgia, been watching some gardening channels, and everyone was telling me that I shouldn't start squash from seed, that they don't transplant well, that they'll get stunted. So I don't know what it is, you guys, but when people tell me not to do something, it makes me want to do it. So I always have to try things myself just to see, because you never know. So I did. I started squash from seed. You're getting hot. Oh, I see. Lily's going down to the creek and Mara wants to go with her. You want to go too? Go on. Well, I think that's the wrong way, Morrow. That's not how you get out, you know. Silly head. She'll figure it out. There you go. Alright, where was I? I'm really bad at getting distracted. So, I went ahead and started some squash in pots. And I didn't find that I had any issues with stunting. My first time that I had any issues with squash getting stunted was last year with some of my Long Island cheeses. And with those, they didn't have enough time to fill out their pot. I would say that most squash don't really like their root systems to be disturbed much. So if you have time for the whole root system to fill the pot, so that when you remove the plant, you're not messing with those root systems. They're all intact and connected to the soil. And then you can plant that in the ground. If they haven't filled out their pot, or maybe you have multiple squash per pot, and you're pulling them out and those root systems kind of get disturbed, that's when I've had issues with some of my squash getting stunted. But that's not always the case, y'all. I've definitely had success with planting them that way too. I would say a lot of gardeners just go to a hardware store like Lowe's or Home Depot, and they buy their squash in pots and then transplant them. And a lot of those squash, I would say especially the melons, I don't know if you've noticed, a lot of times they'll have multiple, and then you can separate those out and put them out in your garden. Now, I haven't really had an issue with those getting stunted, have you? So, for me, I prefer to start mine in pots. That way I get a bit of a head start. I would say when my Long Island cheeses got stunted last year, probably, I want to say a good 2-week period where they were just slow. Now after that point, they took off and they were fine. It's not like they were stunted the whole season. I did plant some Long Island cheese seeds directly into the soil, just to see if maybe they would take off and do better than the ones that I had transplanted. They didn't. My ones from pots still surpassed them in size. The one plant that I start from seed in pots that will have trouble is sunflowers. I don't know what it is. I just don't have luck with those ones. I have better luck if I just put them in the ground. But I am gonna try again this year. I think I might do 1 or 2 trays and we'll give it a shot again to see how it goes. All right, we got a tray going here. Got 8 of them. Yes, I'm gonna need a card table. I'm gonna need one to bring one out. Gosh, those things are huge. Oh my goodness. We're gonna see how far I can get here with these trays that I have. I have 5 more trays coming from Bootstrap. They should be here today as well, except I think they're on a different FedEx truck. We are filling up this greenhouse, you guys. Look at this. Got a little bit more space right here. We'll be filling that up today. These tobaccos are looking great. Look at this. Still having some aphids. I just kind of go around each day and just kind of squish them. Chamomile right here. This basil looking real pretty. There's a little tomatillo. Got lots of peppers and a couple more tomatillos, and this is the weirdest tomato plant. What is going on here with this thing? I don't think it developed quite right. There's the beautiful basil. By the way, I got basil. If you hadn't seen my last video, I had a rat eat a good majority of my basil because I left it out on accident. But I went ahead and I planted more. I got it in the mail the other day, so we'll be getting more basil up soon. Alright, let's fill these babies with some soil. We'll see how far we get. Still got more pots, so when all those other trays get here, this should fit all of my squash just fine. I'll have extras, I'm sure. We got them all filled. That's great. I wasn't quite sure if that would work, but we got it. I'm gonna grab a card table real quick and I'll be right back. That way we have a place, make sure we've got plenty of space for everything. I went down and checked the mail real quick, y'all, and my other trays got here. I got these black ones, just they are a bit cheaper than the colors. I think what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna only do 8 Long Island cheeses this year. I was thinking of doing 10, but since these are in 8, we'll do 8. I think I do want to do 8 gourds and then 8 loofahs. These are the ones that I'm going to allow to climb up the chicken run. I had the loofahs do that on accident last year and I liked it. It worked pretty well. And I was looking at the seeds since I was telling y'all how I did not label the Odessa squash. I've got 3 different squashes. 2 of these are going to be the straight neck and 1 is going to be the Odessa. But I was looking at the seeds and comparing them. These definitely look like the Odessa to me. So we'll see. I am going to plant a couple of these from the packet just to make sure. I was just looking and I was thinking I was going to have to get more soil before I started 8 of each of these birdhouse gourds and loofah gourds. But I have an extra tray right here. So I'm going to go ahead and do 4 more birdhouse gourds and 4 more loofahs. That's great. And I still have so many pots over there. I guess I could start my sunflowers in these bigger containers, but I don't know. Oh, look. The root systems are already coming down. That's great. So, hey, I can always use them for my tomatoes if they really just fill these out, too. That's great. cool. You see these ones? Those are the clear ones. The roots growing right there. That is so fun. Smells like a tomato. This is great, you guys. I do have these 4 empty pots over here. I'm gonna probably go ahead and do 2 more Long Island cheese and then 2 more Big Macs pumpkins there. That way they're all filled out. Might as well. Besides, I'll be starting some sunflowers this week. That's gonna be it. That's the last stuff I'm gonna be planting in pots, you guys. This is great because last year I did peanuts in pots. I like to use peanuts as a companion plant for certain things, especially with my tobacco, and normally I start those in pots, but I'm not doing that this year. It's just it's a lot of work. I didn't harvest my peanuts this year and I just let them be. Now, I already see that the seeds are good in the ground and I just gotta wait for them to pop up on their own. And I also didn't harvest all my marigold seeds either. I got the idea from Lily. She's like, why don't you just let them reseed themselves? It's like, you know what? I'm gonna do that. Less work for me. We did start 3 trays of marigolds just to have some that are bigger. So if you see, we got these marigolds popping up just fine here. That way we will have some bigger. Because I don't know when the marigolds naturally will just start coming out on their own out there. Check this out. I've got this culantro here growing. I've got a couple other ones too somewhere. I need to go ahead and start separating these guys. But if you haven't heard of me talking about culantro before, the reason why I'm growing this is that it's considered a Mexican coriander. It's very similar to cilantro. But as you know, cilantro will start bolting when it gets warmer. So if you have a consistent 80-degree weather, it will just bolt. And I think most of us enjoy putting cilantro in salsa. So by the time my tomatoes and peppers are mature enough to start making salsa, the cilantro is all bolted and not really any good anymore. So that's why I heard about culantro. It's supposed to have a bolder taste than cilantro, so they suggest using less than you normally would. Very excited to try it this year. It's supposed to grow well in the partial shade. When the trees start getting all their leaves, my greenhouse is partially shaded, so I'll be growing it kind of around the greenhouse area, and we'll see how it does. Okay guys, I think that's a wrap. This is exciting. I guess the last thing I need to do is I need to water these, don't I? I probably should water them. This little guy on. Y'all, come April, we're gonna be ready to rock and roll. I'm gonna have all my plants are gonna be good size, ready to go out, and we'll give them a good head start before we get into the real hot weather and we have issues with fungus and pests. Okay, y'all, I've gotta go make dinner. I'm gonna make some homemade pizza. And not forget these seeds. All right, y'all, that was fun. Thanks for hanging out with me. Take care. Oops. And we'll see you next time.